Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Brad. It's really great to be here tonight. First off, I'd like to say the only reason I'm so horribly overdressed is because Seth drew me in a tuxedo on the invitation. So I just naturally assumed it was a black tie affair. And the winner is hot potato.
It's an honor to deliver this award to Marc Bell. Back in the '90s, I used to look forward to Shrimpy and Paul every weekend, cut it out and paste it into my journal. One week I mailed it to my dad. I mailed the strip to my dad, and he called me. He's like, "This is hilarious. Did you do this?" I was like, "Yeah."
Am I supposed to wear the hat? Yes. All right. All right. I don't have a whole lot to say. I guess I just wanted to. Well, I wanted to say I think this is the first award I've won ever. One of my characters, Paul of Shrimpy and Paul, won an award for best nipples. This is my first, I think, that I can remember. Anyway, it's a great honor.
And the winner of the Emerging Talent Award is Michael DeForge.
Consider, if you dare, what lies inside the mind of a cartoonist. Somewhere in there, alongside the neuroses, the ebbing pustules of envy, the gnawing buzzsaw sound of unadmitted ambition, lies a vast archive of every drawn image, every curving line and hatched shading that's ever been sucked into her or his visual cortex. And elsewhere, burbling in some primordial stew of auditory memories, are every line of dialogue heard from Saturday morning cartoons up to the latest YouTube clip. How does the cartoonist distinguish their own ideas from amid the stuffed, creaking doors of culture and trash? The cover of Michael DeForge's Lose #1 depicts this dilemma in gruesome detail, the artist's own head churning with comic strip explosions and bam sound effects, his brow burdened with silhouettes of the images found inside. And so we couldn't be more delighted to grant Michael DeForge this year's Doug Wright Award for Best Emerging Artist.
Thank you for saying such nice things. I really owe all the work I've completed this year to my publisher and Koyama, who's back there. I met her last year at TCAF, and she's just presented a lot of opportunities for me. And aside from that, she's also the kindest person I've met since moving to the city.
And now I'd like to move on to the Giants of the North, the Canadian Cartoonist Hall of Fame. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Kate Beaton.
For any talented artist to be forgotten is a sad thing. For it to happen, or to let it happen to our greatest, I think is a shame. When people look at my work, they say Quentin Blake, they say Shel Silverstein, they say any number of names, but never a Canadian. And I think that we take geographical boundaries for granted in an age of such advanced communication, but I also think that they still matter a lot. Last summer saw the passing of a painter, a novelist, an illustrator, cartoonist, Martin Vaughan James. If The Cage were published today, there would be no question where it would belong. It would be in the graphic novel section. But when Vaughan James was doing his work, there were not graphic novel sections anywhere, and the term itself was booted around by a few obscure comic book fans, but wasn't in wide currency. Like a handful of other artists, Vaughan James was a crucial pioneer in creating artistically ambitious comic narratives during a period when there wasn't really an audience or a critical community to appreciate the work.
And the winner is George Sprott by Seth.
This might not yet be Seth's best work. Now, this was said as a suggestion that perhaps we should step back and think about this. And we did step back long enough to think that if this isn't Seth's best work, then he better get to work very quickly, because we can't wait, and I hope he is ready to experience further embarrassment. I give you now the winner of the award for George Sprott, Seth.
I want to say something to the young cartoonists out there, the people who are starting out. I want to say this is a different medium you're working in now than when I started out. It was very underground at that point, and there was no restrictions placed on you, and you didn't have any feeling about it that you were trying to appeal to any kind of an audience. There was no audience to appeal to, and there was nothing publishers could offer you. They had no money, so why would you change anything you were doing? You just did what you did because that was the way it was. The idea that, you know, you're doing this work for yourself. If the work isn't for yourself, what's the point of doing it? There's no point in producing comics that will be, that you will be thinking of the audience more than yourself. I really want you to remember that don't try to be comic book professionals. You're not professionals. Remember to be artists. That's the important thing. So thank you very much.